Right. Welcome everyone to another episode of Gym Guys Podcast, episode 26. And we've got a heck of a guest for you. We've had him on here before, and we're going to talk about how he's progressed since the last time he's been on our podcast. And before we get to him, introduce all of our co-hosts. We have Scott Applebaum. Scott works for Integrated Wellness, everything for sports, rehab, anti-aging, bodybuilding, lifting. He's quite the physical specimen. We got to witness him winning four IFBB Pro cards back in July. Can't believe it's almost a year ago already.
Yeah, it's almost here already. Yeah.
At the Team Universe, and it was unbelievable. It was not amongst slim competition either. So again, we have some really great co-hosts on here that could share a lot of knowledge. We also have Eric Schwartz, a ton of experience in the sports nutrition world, not only with Animal, but with GAT, but also with NutriBio, and now owns his own company called Paw Power, specializes in nutrition for dogs as far as peanut butter that helps them take down their medications that also is actually healthier for them than human peanut butter, his omegas, his new immunity booster. He's really got it going on. He's hustling every weekend at some sort of show or some expo. So love having Eric Schwartz on our show all the time as well. Me, Chris Scotto, ambassador, rep for Animal for a long time, been selling it since the 80s, since it was the yellow can. Love the industry, just always been attached to it. Got to meet great people, obviously, like we have on this show. And speaking of great people, before we get into our featured guest, who we've all gotten to know over the years, specifically for me over the last 2 years or so, and just been great communication, just a heck of a person, always willing to help and support. And I think we always reciprocate each other. And before we get into all the great stuff with him, his history, his experience, and his perspective, we're just going to talk about a few just solid topics right now, or really top of mind subjects going on right now. One of them being, some new releases that have been on, I believe either it's on Netflix or Amazon. We have Phil Heath's Breaking Olympia, which is a great documentary of him going into his last Olympia, in which he placed third. And it's actually a really good documentary. I enjoyed it. I think I watched it maybe the first or second day it was released, and just enjoyed seeing that other side of Phil that I think we all got jaded a little bit from watching Generation Iron. So I think if you owe it to yourself to see another side of Phil Heath if you haven't watched Breaking Olympia, and then of course George Farah, the Guru. That's being released. I think what, Scott, and when's that going to
Tomorrow
be?
is
And
there for a premiere. Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Is
I
that
mean,
also Netflix or is that somewhere else?
No, they're both. It's both Amazon.
Oh,
both
They're both on
Amazon.
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 Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Yeah, and again, for those of you who are into the world of bodybuilding or not, it doesn't make a difference. You're going to be really inspired by these people's journeys, what they do, and maybe what you think they do, and what they actually do for other athletes, and how they put them through the diet, how they put them through the training. It's extremely admirable, very, very interesting. I highly recommend you watch it. But as far as what relates to all of us, because I don't, unless, well, maybe Scott's still competing. But as far as it relates to us, we just had a law passed in New York. Pretty nutty. And we want to dig into that real quick before we get, like I said, into all the great, interesting things about our guest. And I know our guest is going to jump in and talk about it as well. But New York just passed a law where, quote unquote, anyone under the age of 18 cannot buy, quote unquote, muscle builders, or I believe, super caffeinated drinks. And it's quite controversial, especially when any one of us or anybody under 18 can walk into Starbucks or any coffee shop. Doesn't make a difference if it could be a deli, or at home, and ingest 200, 300, 400 milligrams of coffee or caffeine from coffee. Or they eat a ton of beef and get an extra amount of creatine in their diet. So I've said enough. I open up the floor to you guys on what you think about this kind of reaching law here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely strange. Straight out of the bizarre world. It specifically bans any supplement marketed for weight loss or muscle building for sale to anybody under the age of 18. And the reasoning behind it is they didn't even really say it was like anything related directly to the supplements themselves. They said they think it's because that it can cause disordered eating. Taking a supplement is supposed to cause this can lead to, disordered eating in, I guess, people under 18. That is their reasoning for passing this law into effect. And I mean,
How they make that jump? I have no idea.
I know that's so bizarre. You would think most of the people that are taking dietary supplements understand that there are supplements to their diet. There are things that to be taken in addition to good health and nutrition. I think back to my time as a 15, 16-year-old kid, the first time I started taking supplements. I don't know. It had nothing to do with anything related to disordered eating. I just wanted to perform better in the gym, which would ultimately lead to me performing better on the football field. It had nothing to do with anything of disordered eating. So I don't know how they drew that conclusion either.
So does this ban include canned energy drinks?
That I don't know off the top of my head. I think if it's marketed as a weight loss or muscle building dietary supplement, that is what is banned. So I guess that would
Some
just
of the
depend.
drinks are. I've
I
seen
know
that
some
claim
of them,
on like Celsius and
yeah.
yeah.
So I guess that would just depend on how the supplement is marketed more so than what it even contains, which makes even less sense.
Yeah.
I stepped into a couple of retailers and they did tell me, I think they're gonna have to ask someone that appears young, show me proof of ID if they are buying something that's got 200 milligrams or more of caffeine. So yeah, I do think it can be, it is gonna be applied to these canned drinks.
And I think the unfortunate part of it too is there's so much misinformation out there around this industry. So many people, your average consumer, thinks that the dietary supplement industry isn't regulated, and that couldn't be further from the truth. We have the SHEA that heavily regulates the dietary supplement industry. Now, whether the FDA chooses or sometimes doesn't choose to enforce certain aspects of the SHEA, that's a whole other conversation. But there is regulation for the dietary supplement industry. And I think the general public doesn't realize that. So a lot of people will hear this news of New York making this ban, and they'll just automatically assume that it's good, right? That, New York State is cracking down on an unregulated industry, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, because nobody knows the Deshay Act. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That is a huge misinformation, and I've seen a lot of influencers on social saying, there's no regulation. And I can tell you that when I worked at Animal and when I worked at NutriBio, the FDA inspected those places several times, and it was very, very detailed. They were there. They would come for 5 days and go through every record and walk through the facility, and it was a lot. Now, the thing is, like you said, there's not enough enforcement, so there's a lot of brands and smaller brands that fall under the radar.
Yeah, that fly by me.
So they do need to do a better job of enforcement.
Well,
but as
yeah,
we've seen, there's several, I'm sorry, Scott, there's been several supplement company owners who've gone to jail. So there is some enforcement,
Yeah.
right?
To speak to that, first of all, it's a staffing issue. That's why a lot of these places are not being inspected, because there's not enough people. And the ones that are the high profile ones, which probably not all of them are more above board. It's the ones that are not that they don't see. But what comes to mind to me is that they're going to be trying to prevent kids that under 18 from buying any sort of muscle building or fat loss supplement as it's marketed. Yet over the last 4 years, the amount of 12 to 18-year-olds that have been prescribed SSRIs, which are antidepressants, has skyrocketed through no examination, usually just through a phone call. If that doesn't speak and say something, I don't know what does.
Yeah, ADD, medication as well, right? It's kind of being handed out, pretty readily.
Well, whether it be Ritalin or even Adderall.
Adderall.
You know what Adderall was first developed for?
No.
Actually, don't.
It was developed in Germany to make the soldiers more aggressive.
Yeah.
Wow, never knew that.
I think that kind
I
of
go down these rabbit holes, just so you know. I do.
Yeah, I think that kind of speaks to who's in the pockets of the politicians, right? There's big pharma obviously has a ton of lobbying power in Washington D.C., and that kind of segues into another important topic. The NPA, the Natural Products Association, is loud in Washington D.C. advocating on our behalf of the supplement industry to educate our politicians on why things like that, why things that are happening in New York shouldn't be happening. The NPA does a great job of that. Price Plow is also involved with that. They have the NPA hosts their fly-in day in May. It's coming up this May 22nd. I hope that I'll get to be a part of that. But they fly in a lot of industry leaders and respected people throughout the sports nutrition supplement industry into Washington, D.C. for that day, and then they meet with their politicians and they lobby on behalf of the supplement industry. And I think it's a really important initiative that the natural products industry is kind of Natural Products Association is kind of undertaken for the industry.
Yeah, I remember we used to have Senator Orrin Hatch back in the day, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a big proponent.
So whenever
supplements.
I worked in the supplement industry and I would have young kids ask me, what supplement should I take? I always tried to steer them away if they were under 18. I never said you couldn't, but I always tried to steer them away from kind of taking supplements, not in a bad way, but I wanted them to concentrate on their diet and their training first, and then use supplements as to get over a hump after you train a few years. So I do think that I don't know. I'm on the fence with it, but I'm not really a fan of government overreach. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Where does it go from here? We're going to need a prescription for vitamin C one day, stuff like
Well,
that.
you take that's where it starts, unfortunately.
Right.
And when you really look at it, and you say whey protein is a muscle building supplement, the answer is yes. So if a kid has a choice who's actually in athletics, okay, whether it be hockey, football, baseball, and he has a choice between having chicken nuggets and French fries and having a whey protein shake, right? Which is going to be healthier for him?
Obviously,
Which
the
is
way
going to help him
protein.
perform better in that sport? Which is going to have a better effect on his lipids? Come on.
Yeah.
So
Like-
true.
Like Eric said, it's a slippery slope. Where does the line get drawn? Yeah, it's kind of scary that can happen, and it's such a big, heavily populated state like New York too,
Yeah.
where there are.
You would have thought it would have happened in California first.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Yeah.
California will probably follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good, not good. And before we even go further into the rabbit hole, we warned you, Spencer, that we do this.
I'm all
I want
for
to
it.
make sure we formally introduce Spencer Lynn to everybody.
Yeah, let's get into Spencer.
Because we jumped right into which is why we love the podcast. We just
Yeah.
jump right into the subjects because we're all passionate and genuine about it. Spencer Lynn, our featured guest. Like I said, we all known him for a couple of years now. Originally from COS, then to Cage, and now Applied Nutrition, or as many of you know in America, ABE, All Black Everything, and director of sales, if I'm not mistaken, now, right,
Correct.
for Applied.
Yep.
So really getting this growing in the industry, and I want you to definitely share the story about Compound Solutions too, because I love the beginnings that I've heard or read about in the past there. But talking about someone that has served our country, thank you very much, by the way, U.S. infantry, and just taking all that discipline and all that experience through what he learned in college as well as what he learned out in the field, and just no pun intended, applying it now in Applied Nutrition, and just doing great things with it, making sure the brands are represented the right way, and make sure they're being directed the right way to what we're talking about right now, where people could feel like they could buy trusted supplements that are actually going to do positive things for them, and they do. We always have a couple of bad apples that ruin it for everyone. So, Spencer, I apologize for not introducing you earlier, but I want to make sure that everyone captures who's on the podcast and what you hear offering with your views on this new law and on everything that we're talking about today. So, on behalf of all of us, welcome.
Thank you for the great introduction there, Chris. I definitely appreciate it. Second time on the show, so I'm obviously doing something right to get invited back. But yeah, anytime you guys will have me, I'm happy to come and chat it up with you guys. Yeah, with Applied Nutrition now. If you have any international listeners out there, I'm sure they'll be very familiar with the Applied Nutrition brand over in the United Kingdom and in Europe, headquartered in Liverpool in the UK. Huge brand in the United Kingdom. Massive line of products over there, everything from your protein powders to your pre-workout, all your powders, all your capsules, even beyond that into functional foods like protein cookies, protein bars, protein RTDs, hydration RTDs. They even have protein oatmeal, and I was telling you guys earlier, they even have endurance products like the endurance gels, carbohydrate powders. So literally just a massive line over in the United Kingdom. And then here in the US, underneath the Applied Nutrition banner, currently exists ABE, All Black Everything. And then we'll also be launching AN Performance here in the United States later this year as well. And then AN Body Fuel on top of that too, which will be Hydration RTD. And that'll all be underneath the larger Applied Nutrition banner that is now really making their way stateside. We'll be, making some tweaks to the ABE line, but really focusing on that AN performance and AN body fuel as we roll out here in the United States with it. And it's been a ton of work, a ton of moving parts in the couple months that I've been with Applied Nutrition now, but a lot of fun. And we really have some big things in store. I can't share everything, but it's been a ton of fun to work on it with the team.
I know that they manufacture their own products.
Yeah, that is a great point. We're vertically integrated over in the United Kingdom. They manufacture all the products in the United Kingdom, and then they ship the ABE line over here.
So that was my next question. Will you guys be manufacturing in the United States, or everything's going to be made in the UK?
Most things will, everything's gonna be made in the UK. We might, depends on timing of certain things, and if we need a quick production run of something, we might have a few places in the United States to do some runs for us. But we would like to keep all of our products vertically integrated coming from the UK. It's man, it's powerful. It helps you keep your cost of goods down, which obviously you can pass savings on to the consumer. You don't have to fight other brands for line time at a contract manufacturer, so you can get things turned around quicker. You manage your own supply chain. It is a
Control
really
the quality a lot better.
really, absolutely ensure quality. It's a really powerful tool to be vertically integrated like that.
Yeah. Is ABE, it seems like that, I don't want to use, I hate to use the word hardcore, but it seems like that's more of like the serious lifter brand
Yeah,
as
for sure.
as compared to the Applied Nutrition or the AIM Performance. Is that right? Is that?
Yeah, you nailed it with that. ABE is the hardcore brand, the black mindset type of thing, the dark place you go to when you're in the gym. That is definitely the ABE brand. And then the AN Performance line that'll be launching later this year will be much more focused on the broader athlete. We're really trying to market ourselves as we call it a sideline to sideline brand, right? We're gonna make products for everybody that's at the sporting event, from the players on the field to the coaches on the sideline to the fans in the stands. So that's really going to be the AN Performance line. ABE will stay that more niche bodybuilding hardcore product line.
I like it. So the AM Performance is going to have a lot more products, I would assume, a wider variety.
Initially, it'll probably have about the same amount of products as ABE, but then over time, we'll definitely expand that AN Performance line much larger.
I like it. I could certainly speak for one of the products that I bought, the All Black Everything pre-workout. I don't know if anyone can see it on the screen. I'll back up a little bit there, but
right there.
There you go.
this was sorry, my hand. I've been drinking too much of it, so I can't stand still.
And you got the flavor that has the Breathe Easy in it. So talk about that a little bit, because that's the unique ingredient.
First of all, I think the formula is really good. I've had a few good workouts on it now, and if anyone's weathered, if you will, on taking pre-workouts, it would be me. So when I still feel something from it, I think it says a lot about the product. Again, it's all individual per person, but what Spencer's referring to is the Breathe Easy ingredient, which is actually like part of the flavoring, but it's got a lot to do with like, how clearly like you could breathe through your nostrils and just the overall sensation of coolness. So it's almost like a menthol is how I would describe it. It's not overwhelming. So if you're worried about it, tasting like chewing gum, it's not going to taste like those menthol, spearmint, wintergreen gums, if you will. I think it's got just enough where you're like, okay, yeah, I kind of feel a little bit of euphoria from, again, through breathing through your nose and just your lungs. But again, it's not overwhelming. So I liked it. Quite honestly, for me, I actually would like even more of it in it. I think it's something that's really, no pun intended, really cool to be in a pre-workout. So highly recommend it. This was the candy ice blast flavor, and that's I think the only flavor that has the Breathe Easy ingredient in it. So check it out. Again, it's the All Black Everything pre-workout, and again, it's the candy ice blast flavor that has the Breathe Easy ingredient.
Yeah,
Well done.
it's a very polarizing ingredient. People either love it or they hate it. I'm glad to hear that you loved it. But yeah, it's unique. It kind of, to me, it gives a similar sensation, not nearly as strong, but gives a similar sensation of like smelling like Vicks Vapor Rub. You ever like
Yeah.
put that in your chest when you have a cold? It kind of just like clears up your sinuses. That's kind of the sensation that it gives, but obviously you're drinking it, so it is very unique. I've never seen it in another pre-workout before from any
I've
other
never
company.
heard of it until
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you check it out, but it's pretty cool that we have that in our products, and it's cool that that's the only flavor that we have too. So we have, if somebody doesn't like it, they have 9 other flavors they could choose from.
Oh, 9, wow, 9 other flavors.
Yeah.
Dosages are great, ingredients are great, really well done. I'm not just saying it because you're on our
very good, very well formulated pre-workout. And it's cool. You mentioned my time at Compound Solutions. So Applied Nutrition does make use of a lot of compound solutions ingredients. We have dynamine in the pre-workout. We have dynamine in our energy, our ABE energy. So it's kind of like a full circle thing here
That is
for me.
wild.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And I was gonna say too, we have one of our other flavors of the ABE pre-workout is our Batty Berry, and that's in collaboration with UFC fighter Paddy Pimblett, Paddy the Batty Pimblett. He's an up and coming UFC fighter. I think he's 5-0 in the UFC right now, but he's actually from Liverpool, not far from where Applied Nutrition is headquartered. So he's got a huge following on social media. He's got like 2.5 million followers on Instagram. He has a YouTube channel where he's all kind of crazy YouTube videos on there. He's a very, very charismatic, talks a lot of crap, but he's a UFC fighter, so he backs it up. Very heavy British accent. So that part of the United Kingdom, they call him Scousers, as somebody from Liverpool. So he's a proper Scouser. He has a proper Scouser accent. Very hard to understand him at times, but he's very charismatic. And if you do get a chance to look him up, he gave a speech in the octagon after one of his more recent fights. It was a big win he had in a fight. And he really kind of let himself get vulnerable for a minute. And he talked about men's mental health. And he had a buddy who was going through a really tough time. And, he talked about how he reached out to his buddy, and it kind of ultimately ended up saving his buddy's life, that his buddy was able to vent to him. And it's a really good speech. It's a 2 to 3 minute speech. It might have been Joe Rogan, whoever was interviewing him in the octagon after the fight, but it was touching, for lack of a better word. And he really opened up and let himself become vulnerable in that moment. And it was cool to hear, a tough, badass guy advocating for men's mental health. It was a cool moment. And I became a fan of Paddy ever since I saw that. And that was a couple years ago.
That is very cool.
I have a question, and I've been following it. You're in the industry, deep, and you guys have an energy drink, and I'm just kind of watching the energy drink market. And what I don't get is that every company, and there's new companies every single day. How is everybody getting a piece of that market? It's there's only so many pieces in the pie,
I mean, it is an absolutely huge market. I mean, you walk into any gas station anywhere in the United States now, and there's 12 different energy drink brands in the coolers. So that there is a huge market for it. We do have a relatively small, very small percentage of that market, but we have a ton of potential with the Abe Energy. Our energy drink, I mean, it's way more than just a regular energy drink. And I know I work for the company, so to say that. But you look at the formula, it's got 2 grams of citrulline in it, a gram of betaine, 200 milligrams of caffeine, and then 200 milligrams of vitacholine, and then 100 milligrams of dynamine too. So it is that's a loaded energy drink. It's not just an energy drink.
One, I'm glad it's at 200. I like the ones that are on a little bit on the lower moderate side. Two, I like that it's a non-proprietary brand. It's a transparent one. There's not that many of them on the market. What I understand with the energy drink thing, it's you got to have good distribution, and that's the key, man.
DSD, yep. There are networks out there, direct store distributor networks that, I mean, they're all throughout the country, and they'll service, a region of Southwest Ohio or a region of Northeast Pennsylvania, different distributors throughout the country. And then they're the ones that are going in and stocking gas stations almost not necessarily quite in real time, but as soon as they get a low stock notification of a gas station, you'll see their vans driving around all the time and, restocking gas stations, convenience stores, grocery stores, wherever energy drinks are sold. You really have to tap into that network of distributors to be successful in energy drinks.
Is the AB energy drink in any major stores?
The biggest, well, I mean, the ABE Energy is in Walmart in a 4-pack. It's not sold in individual cans in Walmart, but it is in Walmart's in a 4-pack for the Batty Berry flavor, which is our collaboration with Paddy Pimblett, and then the Blue Lagoon flavor, which is the blueberry lemonade. That's actually my favorite flavor. So 4-packs of those are in Walmart's, also in Meijer, and also in Giant Eagle. And then the cans are sold individually in AFE's shopettes on military bases. The military version of a convenience store has all cans and singles there, which is cool too. My background.
Gotta get them in Wawa, man. We need them in Wawa.
That'd be awesome. That's a tough one to crack though, but yeah.
Well, no, you cracked Walmart. That's extremely hard to crack. And just a statistic: do you know that 40% of the population buy all their groceries and goods at Walmart?
I didn't know. It was that high. No,
I didn't either.
No, because I follow supply chain, and because the supply chain it's very delicate. So the statistic is if if Walmart supply chain broke, because it's delicate, that 40% would go to the other 60, and the stores would be out of goods within 3 days.
Wow.
That's how fragile the supply chain is.
Well, another statistic too about Walmart that what you just said that made me think of it. Do you know what the number one selling SKU in Walmart, the number one selling product in Walmart is?
No idea.
It's a Chiquita banana. It's a
Really?
banana,
Banana, you said?
Interesting.
which is
Wow.
good. Yeah.
Produce. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
interesting.
Relatively inexpensive as well. So like that's why they turn so high. But then Scott, to your point about Walmart too, the logistics of Walmart is mind blowing. Being a brand in Walmart is a high stakes game, right? You cannot be late on shipments; they'll fine you. You cannot ship the wrong thing; they'll fine you. If your product isn't moving at a certain velocity, you're getting kicked off the shelf pretty dang quick. It is a zero sum game playing ball with Walmart.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, to your point, it is being on their shelf is a billboard to millions of average Americans every single day. It's literally an advertisement just being on their shelf. It's great for brand awareness. Now we have 4 total SKUs in Walmart: the 2 energy drink 4-packs, and then our ultimate pre-workout Batty Berry and our ultimate pre-workout Blue Raspberry flavor. So 4 total SKUs in Walmart, and we do get some pushback from the mom and pops, the local brick and mortars, supplement stores for being on shelf in Walmart. But I always try to spin it and say, listen, it's great for brand awareness. And the fact that Walmart only has 4 of our SKUs, the energy drink 4-packs, we don't really sell those to brick and mortars. We'll sell them a 12-pack so they can sell it individually. And then, so we really only have 2 SKUs in Walmart that we're going to sell to brick and mortars anyway. And I said, we have 8 other flavors of the pre-workout. So just don't buy those 2 flavors, buy any of the other 8. People will see those 2 flavors on Walmart, great for brand awareness. And then if they want to try our more unique flavors, you can beat Walmart on flavor.
Yeah, the thing is also is that there are areas of the country that you're going to get penetration that don't have the mom and pop stores. So you, from a business perspective, you need to do that if you can accomplish it.
I think the only perspective I've ever had on that is if you get into the club channels, then is there an exclusive like massive size that you can't get anywhere else? Or is there a special flavor, or is there something that's just so darn comparable that you're like, wow, I may not go to the mom and pop anymore. I'm going to buy it when I go get all my meat and toilet paper over at, a club channel. So that'd be the only thing I'd be cautious about. But you're right. You got to have those channels of distribution. It does create awareness. And listen, it may not be may not be for long either, right? Like you said, they're a tough retailer to please. So, the good news is you're in there and you're going to learn from it, and hopefully you keep growing there and then you expand from it.
And to your point about the club channels too, that is a great point. Is typically, you do make a product specifically a size segment specifically for the club channel, right? 60 serving bag of protein instead of your normal 30 serving tub. But that 60 serving bag of protein, you're going to have the most bland, generic chocolate and vanilla. That's it. You're not going to have any fun flavors with it. You're not going to do any inclusions. You're not going to have a super great formula. It might just be whey protein concentrate, because that's what sells in that channel. And to make the margins right, you need to keep the cogs low. So if a brand does get in the club channel, they're going to do the most basic, generic consumer thing in the club channel, and then they'll still have all their fun products online or in the brick and mortar. So there's ways to split it up. There's ways to segment it and differentiate from channel to channel that keeps your brand, I guess, fresh and on point, for lack of a better word.
And think of it in the club channel, it's a mini billboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Probably the most traffic going in any retailer these days, right? I mean, I don't think the parking lot ever looks like it's suffering.
Yeah.
Club channels,
So I'm always curious of the people that work at the companies, what individual products they personally use. So out of Abe and Applied, what are your personal favorites that you're using on a regular basis?
I would say right now the 2 products that I use the most are ABE Energy, which is obviously our canned energy drink. I drink probably 2 a day, 1 in the morning and then 1 pre-workout. And then our ABE Fuel too, which is our hydration RTD that we have 2 flavors in that. We have lemon lime and then Patty Punch, again, collaboration with Patty Plummet. And it's just a hydration RTD. Those are definitely the products that I use the most of, just because I love my carbonated energy drinks. I'm just the same as everybody else. And then try to stay hydrated throughout the day. But like, I'm not somebody that can just drink water. I need some type of flavor or something with my water. And the hydration.
I love the hydration category. That's blowing
Yeah.
up too.
Yeah, same.
I like
And
it.
like even if it's like a stick pack or a hydration RTD, I can't just drink plain water. I don't, my taste buds just like won't have it. So I need some flavor. So those are the two products that I definitely use the most.
By the way, we were talking about breaking news, and there is a lawsuit going against Prime now.
I saw that.
I
Yeah,
think I'm not
there's
sure if it's
another.
the energy drink or the hydration,
It's the
but they're
hydration. It's the hydration RTDs with
a lawyer
PFAS.
is claiming
Yeah.
that they tested it and it's got forever chemicals in it, like a high
Yeah,
amount.
It's become a
PFAS.
class action, I heard. I heard it's a class action too.
In California, and
Yeah.
there's two class actions. One's in California, and one is nationwide. Now, my gripe with that is, yeah, I don't know the exact levels that were tested in Prime. I haven't looked into it that much, but there is PFAS, the forever chemicals, that is in everything,
Everything,
every
right?
plastic thing that is
Right.
in. So
Yes.
it comes down to, I think in California, at least, when you have the California Proposition 65
Wow,
warning,
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
so the fact that Prime doesn't have that on their bottles, that opens them up to those class
Oh,
action lawsuits. Same thing
yikes. That's
happens
a big
also.
mistake on their part.
Well, it is and it isn't because people see, a lot of brands will deliberately leave that off
Right.
because average consumer Betty from Iowa sees that on there. Oh my
You're
God, Prime's
right.
going to cause cancer. I'm not going to buy Prime. Meanwhile, every brand could just put that on their product. It is such a
You're
weird
right. And
loophole.
I remember working at Animal when that
You guys have
passed,
it.
and
Animal has it.
we were putting them on there, and we've got calls all the time, like what's in it that causes cancer, and we had to explain,
So some brands will choose to not put it on there, but then that opens them up to potential
Yeah,
lawsuits.
that's a
Other
big
brands
risk,
will
man.
choose to put it on there, and now they're not open to lawsuits, but they're going to hear a bunch of complaints from customers saying, "Why is your product going to cause me cancer?" When in reality, it's not going
Right,
to cause you any more cancer than anybody else's product. So
right.
that's a whole other rabbit hole to dive into.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can go down there, but we don't have
That
to.
that Prop 65 warning is on water in California. It's on buildings. I stayed
Yeah,
at a hotel and they had a
yeah.
sign with the Prop 65 warning that this
Now,
building could contain lead. And
Animal's most recent products that I've seen, at least, I don't know who had the idea to do this in Animal, but I thought it was very clever. They had I believe it was like a Q, it was a website. It was just a website. It was for California residents, go to this website. And then that website, you type in that website and it takes you to the Prop 65 warning on the website. So they didn't actually put the Prop 65 warning on the label where Betty from
we
Iowa is
used to
going to
have it
see
on
it.
the label. Okay.
Yeah, where Betty from Iowa is going to see it
Yeah.
on the label and
Right.
immediately think it's going to cause her cancer. So now somebody that really wants to research into it has to go to a website. And now
And that
that way the
protects
word,
them legally?
I believe so. And now that way
Interesting.
the word cancer isn't on their label, which is a
Yeah.
huge red flag for anybody who doesn't know any better.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, that's a whole
It's
other
going to be
rabbit hole.
interesting to see where that goes
We
with
dealt
Prime.
with, I know a decent bit about this because it costs. We had the same thing. We did not put the Prop 65 warning on our labels. We chose not to. And then we did have some lawyers and people coming after us for that exact reason.
That
So
sucks.
it's crazy. And you spend a ton of brands spend a ton of money fighting those legal
Yeah.
battles, and it's insane.
And the lawyers make all the money.
Yeah, yeah. You're not on both sides too. The ones fighting for us
Yeah.
and the ones fighting
Yeah.
against us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gonna say
Rabbit hole number 2, dug out of.
rabbit hole. What do you think is your biggest competition as you guys start to bring AN performance here? Who do you think is, I mean, we've seen so many brands that, last year when we were talking about this that actually
Yeah.
aren't even that relevant anymore. And what do you feel is your biggest competitors right now?
Well, it's funny. We were literally just talking about Prime. I think we would really like to be able to position AN Body Fuel to compete with Prime in several different ways. Obviously, long way to go to get to that level. But to your point, yeah, brands do really come and go. And I think instead of really calling out other brands as a competition, we just want to figure out how to stay relevant as long as possible to really grow and achieve, mainstream household penetration. We've signed several top athletes that'll, help us with that, getting more mainstream attention on the AN performance line. Some really big names that even still blow my mind. Can't spill the beans yet, but it's gonna cause some shockwaves. Some key retail partnerships that we've locked up already ahead of time. And we're really just excited to get this thing rolling.
You guys need brand awareness. That's really what it is, right?
100%. Yeah. Brand
That's the big
awareness
thing.
and then backing it up with effective products, well formulated, effective products that are also not priced out of this world either. So figuring out that balancing act of making all of those things come together, as well as, you got to have attractive labels nowadays too. A lot of brands are really upgrading their labels. You see a lot of brands, rebranding, re-imaging their products. So that's a new way to compete too, is with the labels. You got to catch the consumer's eye. You have like 3 to 6 seconds to catch a consumer's eye on shelf.
Yep.
And they're going to make a decision whether to pick your product up and flip it around and read the ingredients just based on how the label looks. So that's a very important factor.
True. I'm sure you
And
guys
the
are
other,
gonna good.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Scotty.
And then with energy drinks, you come out with new flavors, and then are you really, are you cannibalizing the other flavors? And then in addition, does that affect inventory? You're sitting on inventory because you have a new flavor and the new flavor is moving, but the olds are not. And that it gets cost of goods,
It's a very, very deep balancing act. And then also you're always doing SKU rationalization, right? You're looking at your products, you're looking at which ones aren't moving well, and you're cutting the fat at times. And that can make a lot of your consumers upset too, just because product B might not be moving very well and it hasn't moved well for a long time. There's one guy out there that loves product B and he swears by it. And then when you tell him you're discontinuing it, he's so mad. You have to explain to him, well, you're the only guy buying it. What do you want us to do? So yeah,
or even or change a formula that someone liked the formula the way it was,
Yeah. So there are a lot of balancing acts that go into this thing, and those are all things we're trying to plan for ahead of time to make sure we get it as right as possible when it launches here. Because
when is that launch supposed to be?
The AM Performance will launch most likely Q4 this year, October-ish timeframe. We'll launch with a big retail partner, big athletes that we signed, and some really unique products that are going to be fun in ways that have been done in this industry before. We're going to have authentic flavor collaborations with brands, but not ones that have been done before. We're going to have athletes similar to how Patty is featured on our products. We're going to have other athletes feature products as well. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff in the works.
So you as a sales director, right now you can't really sell AM Performance, right?
Yeah, well,
so you're just focusing on ABE. What are you doing?
That's a great question. So we did sell AM Performance we have a key retail partnership locked up that'll be executed later this year. So we did already do that.
Cool.
And then right now, and thank you. And then right now we are focused on really growing ABE to the best of the ability in the meantime as well. So we are selling ABE. And then also, a big part of my role is as sales director, but I kind of call myself the consumption director too. So not only do I need to make sure the product is selling in places, I need to make sure the product is selling through places, right? Selling off the shelf.
Right.
So we're very close to getting ABE in GNC franchise approval for that. Not in corporate. We don't really want the whole GNC launch just yet. We want to get it rolling in franchise first, which that's a whole other rabbit hole we can get into. I'm sure you guys are aware that there's a difference between GNC franchise and GNC corporate. Yep. But the average GNC consumer, I don't think they realize the difference.
No, they have no clue.
No, there's about 700 plus or minus a few GNC franchise locations throughout the United States, and those are independently owned small businesses. Some people will own a dozen, 3, 4 franchises at a time. Some people will only own one, but those are small businessmen and women, very separate from GNC corporate. The GNC corporate side makes up, the other 80% of GNCs out there, and that is controlled by headquarters here in Pittsburgh, actually, where I live.
I've been to those headquarters.
Yeah,
I don't think they're there anymore, right? They're not the same.
Well, they had ones that were downtown. They moved.
That's where I went to downtown.
Yeah, they moved to the Strip District about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe. The downtown ones, it's good they moved out of there because that area has really gone downhill. Just homeless and a lot of drug addicts in that area. So they moved to the Strip District in a much, much nicer facility. It's actually a really beautiful facility. It kind of has like an overlook of the city. It's really cool. So anyway, ABE will be in GNC franchise very soon. We're excited about that. GNC franchise is fun to work with because, like I said, they are small business owners. A lot of them are very active and involved in their communities, doing events at local gyms or local sports leagues. They're always very receptive to brands that support them. If I can send in samples and ABE swag and T-shirts that they can, promote at their events, they're always very appreciative of that. And a lot of times too, the GNC franchises, they're staffed by people that have been there for a long time, people that really know and understand the industry, the ingredients, what makes a good product. Just very fun to work with the GNC franchises.
How are you handling the small mom and pop supplement shops? Are you doing that through a distributor, or do you have a sales team going and calling on them?
Yeah, but a little bit of both. So we use Muscle Foods USA as one of our distributors. Sport
Great
Life is
people
another one.
there.
Yeah. Muscle Foods is awesome. I love them over there. And then Sport Life is also another distributor that we use. But then we do have direct accounts as well. It just kind of depends a lot of time on what the mom and pop wants to do. A lot of them do prefer to pull us through distributors because they only want, a small handful of products at a time, or they want to mix and match brands. So whatever works for the mom and pop supplement store, we're happy to work with them. If they do want to make a larger direct purchase, we're definitely open for that as well. And yeah, I prefer that way because then I can throw in some extra goodies for them too, to try to take care of them. Sample sachets are huge, obviously, as you guys know, getting samples out to those mom and pops so they can have their customers try the product before they buy it. You hand me a pre-workout sachet sample, I'm much more likely to come back and buy the actual tub after I take it home and use it. So
100%.
Do you guys do any direct consumer?
yeah, we have you can buy our product on our website. We're also on Amazon. And you have to be competing on Amazon too, especially with all the third-party resellers out there that will. Yeah. So you have to have your own presence on Amazon nowadays. And then we do have ABE Nation is the website you can go to buy any of our products online.
What would you say? What percentage are you direct to consumer to, and brick and mortar, and
Oh man, it's probably it's a little bit of speculation on my part without looking at the numbers, but I would say it's probably close to, I would say 50% D2C / Amazon. A large portion, maybe 30% is retail, mostly through Walmart. Again, we're in Meijer and Giant Eagle, our other two big retail accounts. And then probably, 10% or less is probably the mom and pop. So the mom and pop is definitely the smaller percentage. Mostly Amazon and D2C for AB Nation.
Mhm.
And just to be clear, I'm the retail guy too. So the D2C and Amazon, that is a completely different. That's our VP of growth, Matt Hoffman, handles all of that. That is a whole other language.
Yeah,
If you guys
Amazon needs like just somebody that just
Oh yeah,
focuses on
we
Amazon.
have our VP of growth is Matt Hoffman. He handles Amazon. He's an Amazon whiz, and he handles the D2C too. And that's a different language. I call it jokingly. I call it the nerd stuff. I'm the retail guy. I'm in person, face to face.
You're the relationships
guy.
right? And
They're
Amazon's all numbers
they're doing the
and
nerd stuff, hacking
keywords.
on the computer, search
Well,
engine
you're not dealing with a
optimization.
human being, so you know what I mean. You're not dealing with human beings.
Yeah,
It's all keywords and algorithm and all
yeah.
that shit.
It's literally a different language.
I have a love-hate relationship with Amazon, but
But you're right. There are so many resellers out there that you have to be right.
Oh, yeah.
You have the choice.
Yeah, for sure.
well, and Amazon's become a huge search engine. People just go there just to search.
To learn
Yes.
about, yeah.
So you kind of have to be on there as a brand, but they are a pain in the ass to work with.
And the other thing is they've created where people think that they should be able to get anything they want, even if it's not on Amazon, next day, because that's what they've been conditioned to, and it doesn't work like that.
Let's talk. Since we were talking about all this regulatory stuff, there is another part of the breaking news in that Amazon is having their own third-party testing.
Yeah.
Right, they're requiring. So if you want to sell on Amazon, you have to go through their third-party testing, even if you already a third-party testing, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I like the concept. I don't like the
Good for a consumer. Right.
I like the concept. I don't like the execution. They shouldn't have made it just their own specific third party test. They should open up to any accredited because there's a ton of good third party testing.
I agree.
Certifications, accreditations out there.
My first thought was that it's like a moneymaker for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard. I hope they're not going to do it in the dog space, but they might do that next. I don't know.
It should be a real third party, not their third party.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I like that's what I said. I like the concept. I don't like their execution of it. Hopefully, it's something that they can expand on in the future to include plenty of other good third party testing labs out there.
Yeah,
I heard it's very expensive. One of the smaller business owners on TikTok of a small supplement brand was talking about it, and he said for now he's not going to sell on Amazon because he can't afford to sign up for that program.
Yeah. I heard the same thing, Eric.
And that's a shame. And if they did it to me tomorrow with Paw Power, I don't think I would be able to do it.
But then by that same token too, it does clean up the industry of all the people out there that aren't third party testing their products, which they're required to do. So it's a catch-22. I just think again, good concept, poor execution, hopefully something they can expand on in the future.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that you look at is you got to realize that some of these products, are sitting in warehouses for months and sometimes years, and people are buying expired stuff that, and there's no temperature control, so when is it being tested? How often is it being? I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
With
don't know if
Paul
they.
Power,
Yeah,
how do you handle Amazon with Paul Power? Are you doing it all yourself and everything?
I'm a one man show with everything.
That's-
I'm
Man, all the credit to you for that.
Well, it's me and my wife, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just us. Like, yeah, it's not easy. I wear many different hats. I'm not an expert on it. I'm learning. I had a few people help me, but yeah, I'm doing everything.
Do you do fulfilled by Amazon like FBA?
Yeah, because I wanted to be Prime, and that's the only
Okay,
way you could be
yeah, that's
Prime.
right. Yeah.
You know.
So you ship it
So,
all. You ship a certain amount of Paul Power to a warehouse, and then
yep,
Amazon fulfills it from there. Okay.
I'm lucky. My manufacturer's great. He'll ship it directly to Amazon for
Oh,
me.
cool.
Direct to
Cuts out.
consumer, I
Yeah.
ship from my house, but
Yeah.
to Amazon, he ships for me. But they take a lot of money. So
Yeah.
I sell a jar of peanut butter on there for $13.99. They take their fees is like $7.49.
That is very similar to how, on the grocery side of things, I learned a lot from working at Cost. UNFI and KeHE, the two big grocery distributors, they take their cut. So Amazon is basically acting as like their own middleman, which is crazy.
Yeah, and that's before you even advertise. Like you have to
Yeah.
advertise with PPC, or else no one will find your stuff. So
Yeah.
now I got to put that on top. I make very little on Amazon, but I feel like we said before, you have to be
Brand
there as a
awareness
brand.
for brand
That's
awareness,
important.
and yeah, to make sure that there's no third party sellers out there trying to make a
Right.
profit off of you. But we talked a little bit off camera, but I wanted to make sure you got the flowers for you. You just won an award with Paul Power.
We
Talk about
did.
that.
It's pretty cool. We've got an award from Whole Foods Magazine for the pet category. We were up against two other companies, and it was an award that people could vote on.
Yeah,
And it's pretty cool. We've actually won 3 awards each year that we've been in business for
that's
dog butter,
awesome.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
Especially for us that we're a small company, we don't have these big marketing dollars to get the recognition, but we've gotten a little bit, so it's kind of cool.
it's cool.
Yeah.
That was one that fans could vote on too. I mean, it shows that you have a community behind your product and behind your brand, and that's got to feel rewarding.
Yes, yes.
That's cool.
Well, I got to tell you, I feel really good about it, with what happened with Eric, because, I kind of helped him get involved in the
Scotty
dog
hooked it all up.
yeah, and in the business, and to see what and I see, and it makes me, I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad I did, because he busts his ass
Yeah,
every single weekend. If you do something for somebody and they don't run with it, then you get a little sour, But I'm like, I said to my wife, he's somewhere every single weekend,
yeah.
Trying,
Mean,
man.
I see it all on social media too. You're literally at a different expo, a different charity event.
Yeah.
Yeah, every weekend doing anything with the dogs, with the wife, with the brand. That's really cool.
One, we need to. We don't have we don't have a big budget, so we got to do some kind of guerrilla marketing.
Some grassroots
On
stuff. The
top of it, but
grassroots is important, man. That's where you get like
yeah.
true believers, true fans of your brand happen
Yes,
at the
yeah.
grassroots level like that.
The
Yeah.
cool thing is seeing people that are like repeat buyers. So every year we've been doing this one big pet expo in New Jersey, the Super Pet Expo. We get people that come, oh, I bought this from you last year. I'm back to buy more. And that's
Yeah.
cool. That's exciting. And two, I enjoy it though. I get to take Pablo with me, and I like talking to people and meeting all these different dogs. I like doing that stuff.
That's cool. I'm sure the dogs love it too.
The dogs love it. Pablo loves it. He looks forward to it.
That's cool.
He's a star, man.
He is.
Was a star.
I will be at Signature Fitness Saturday.
Oh,
For
that's
Victor Martinez
event?
Fit for Autism. I know there will be an animal table there.
That's
I
a
was
great
told.
event.
So.
Yeah, I was going
Steph's
back
gonna
and
be there.
Steph. Yeah.
And it's
Will.
cool that like there is kind of some synergy too between your Paul Powers like supplements for pets and then
Sure.
still fitness for humans, obviously. Like people that are into fitness for themselves are obviously, and they have pets, they're probably going to want to take care of their pets too, the way they take care of themselves extra. So there's
100%
some
right.
synergy
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Between,
I'm in a few small independent mom and pop supplement stores here in New
yeah, that makes
Jersey,
sense. That makes a lot of
and
sense.
it does pretty well there.
It's funny. You always hear like people's pets kind of emulate them. Like my dog, he's sitting here looking at my hands. You can't see him on the screen now, but he's literally right under the camera. But he's a Greyhound Lab mix. So he's very lean, very fast, runs a lot, super energetic, kind of like me. And then you always see like other people, like if you see some like fat, out of shape person. They always have some pudgy bulldog that can barely.
Yes, yes,
It's just funny how people's pets end up being like extensions of their own personality.
Interesting.
Well, think about I have 3 dogs plus, Spencer, just such my family and we own a dog ice cream store and bakery
Oh, cool.
in Delray. So, but I walk my dogs 1.5 miles every day.
So
If I had a bulldog, if I had one of those, they wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
Especially in the heat, they can't.
Yeah.
I walk my dog a mile every single day too. Rain, snow, sunshine, doesn't matter. A mile every single day. But it's just funny how your dog becomes an extension of your own personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then Scott, speaking of your personality, I said, Scott, speaking of your personality, we talked off camera. You were deadlifting 235 for 27 reps, was it the other day?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
That's
He's
awesome.
also done 405 for how many was it?
10.
How many did you do? 10. And he's doing deficit deadlifts, by the way.
Yeah, deficit. Yeah.
I'm more impressed with the 405 by 10.
That's cool. That is two things fire me up in fitness and health is when I see somebody make a crazy body transformation. Scott, you mentioned you had a client who dropped from 480 to like 190 pounds. Yeah. Whenever I see a transformation like that, I get fired up. It motivates me. And then the other thing is when I see an older gentleman who is still in phenomenal shape, because that's what I want to be one day. Like that is what I aspire to be like one day. Scott, I don't know how old you are, but whenever I'm your age, I hope I can deadlift 405.
I'm gonna be 61. I'll be 61.
When I'm 61, if I can deadlift 405 once, I would be ecstatic. So when I see older gentlemen who are still incredibly fit, and when I see people that have made insane body transformations, that really fires me up and motivates me.
Good. It's funny. The company I'm working with, Integrated Wellness, one of our big endeavors is chronological age versus biological age. And it's something that we're really into because. Because I'm very, very aware. I watch people every single day, and just because someone chronologically is a certain age doesn't mean biologically they are. And there's so many things you can do to lower your biological age, and that's what one of the things that we're doing with all of A clients that I work with and a lot of the patients. Really lowering that biological age because, as I say, I want you to burn out like a bright light. I don't want you to slowly dim.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you guys do anything with telomeres? I know that is like one measure of your your biological age. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
We have a specific panel, labs that we do, and then a questionnaire, and then develop a protocol based on those.
That's cool. What is your biological age? Do you know your own?
He said 15.
No, 16. It's 16.
18 forever.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny is that environment has a lot to do with it. Stress has a lot to do with it. Sleep has a lot to do with it. But I moved down here 13 years ago, and I remember back then I even said, you know what? My quality of life and my longevity is increasing just by moving to Florida. The sun, going out in the sun every single morning at sunrise at 7 o'clock.
Active, yeah.
Putting your feet on the earth. It's all the elements. It's all the elements. It's sun, water. Fire. I mean, it's all of them, combined. That's a big part of it.
Right.
But it's,
I walk around outside barefoot often for that same reason. I feel good. But the only thing, man, the only thing I don't do well in my own health is I don't sleep well. Never really have.
It's important, man.
I know. That's something I need to work on. Figure out. I mean, I eat very well. I train hard.
What's your sleeping environment like? That's the first question I always ask.
Yeah, I think it's all right because my wife's usually asleep well before I am. So I come into a quiet room.
Any electronics in there?
I mean, I do wear a Fitbit when I sleep because I'm trying to monitor my sleep. So it's like a double-edged sword there. So I don't know.
Well, you got the
you just had a baby too.
Break.
Yeah, I do have a 7-month-old, so that could be back.
Congratulations on that, by the way. You didn't have a baby the last time you were on our show.
Yeah. It's funny. People ask me how's that going and everything. I said, from a guy who's done a lot of hard stuff in his life, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life now is just being a father and figuring out that first 7 months. But man, is it rewarding now?
Is the baby keeping you up at night?
No, he's good now. He's been sleeping through the night for the past, I would say maybe 2 or 3 months now. But the first 6 months were challenging, right? All he does is kind of cry, poop, sleep, and eat. Doesn't really interact much. But now that he's 7, going on 8 months old now, his personality's starting to come out. He's starting to be a little human, not just a little potato. He's starting to it's starting to become more rewarding now, but it's been cool. And my wife is an amazing mother, absolutely freaking amazing at what she does, like a natural right away.
Back to sleep, which you're not getting a lot of. I wear the Whoop, and I will tell you,
Okay.
beyond the shadow of a doubt, is first of all, two things. One is that when I'm getting good sleep, my recovery on the Whoop is great, and number two, it's and I talk to everybody about this. Taking your days off from the gym is vital for the recovery, and I talk to them blue in the face. You don't grow and recover in the gym. That's where you're breaking it all down. You grow when you rest, and you recover when you rest. And I see it on the Whoop all the time.
That's cool.
Spencer, he's forgetting to tell you that he takes 75 milligrams of melatonin a night too.
That is not an exaggeration, by the way.
No, that is true.
75 milligrams. Wow.
Did not an exaggeration.
You worked up to that, or did you just
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
But you ask my wife. You ask my wife. She says once I lay my head down and I turn over and it's lights out.
The dead.
If you had to, like, say you were traveling or something, and you forgot it, like, would you be able to sleep without it at this point, or is that like you need it now? You think?
Yeah, I could sleep without it. I've always been a good sleeper.
Okay. Scott, and you take that every day, or you take breaks from melatonin?
Every day.
Isn't there a thought process that if you constantly take it, your body stops producing its own, or is that?
Well, I'm 61, so your body is already it's decreasing. All hormones as we get older, and especially more the male than the female. We were really put on this earth to procreate and to kind of like just wither away and die. Where women, that's why women live a lot longer than men. We had a certain function. They have to bring up the children. That's why they live longer than we do. So when I talk about longevity and wellness, so I want to work with men just as well as women to get them to live longer, and not just longer, but a more vibrant life. And that's it's a huge goal of mine. I try to do it one person at a time.
I always say I'm trying to live to be 100, or I'm gonna live to be 100, or I'm gonna die trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they say? Nobody escapes alive, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I want to live that long, but I do want quality of life.
I wanted to. I'm going to tell you something crazy. I'm going to tell you, this is like something I when I was 13 years old, it was the bicentennial of the United States. And I said, I want to be around for the next one. So I said, I want to live to 113.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
I remember, and I've told my mother that, and she remembers it to this day,
You might do it, Scott. You might be the guy to do it.
Yeah. So I said to my nephew, I said, you and I are the only ones going to be around.
And you're not spending $2 million a year like Brian Johnson on the stuff.
No. Let's not get into Brian Johnson. Because there's so many factors that are involved in actually doing this. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of siloed people out there who are quote unquote influencers who think that their factor is the only factor, and there's so many factors.
Right. That drives me nuts on social media. Like when people say that do this one thing or eat this one thing, it's never one factor, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's a combination of things. Like,
yes,
that drives me nuts on social
media.
It's a
myriad,
Yeah. But I know that's what gets clicks and views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hook, they call it.
Yes. Yeah. Because the truth is not sexy. You know what I mean?
True. You're right.
Usually
what is it? It's called, I call it the grind, right? Doing repetitive tasks over and over to achieve a goal. That's not sexy, but that's what needs to be done.
Consistency compounds over time. Yeah.
So Spencer, you've run an ultra marathon. You've attempted this world record deadlift.
Yeah.
What's the next physical challenge? I know you got something on your vision board.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing another 100-mile ultra marathon this year.
Oof.
Maybe late July timeframe. There's one that I'm eyeing up. I haven't put it on my calendar yet though. It's tough figuring out, what type of traveling I'm going to be doing for work too. Because obviously you can't just show up and do a 100-miler. You have to train for that. You have to come in that week prepared. But there is one that I'm eyeing up. I haven't put it on the calendar yet though. But I think I would like to do another 100-miler. It was a fun challenge, and the one I did last year, just by circumstance. It was March in Pittsburgh, and this time of year, March in Pittsburgh can be anywhere from 65 and sunny to 15 and snowy. And unfortunately, it was 17 degrees and snowed overnight
Oh
during
my
the 100
God.
mile. So yeah. So I did not luck out in terms of the weather. So the one in July, I think I'd be able to go a lot faster just because you're not going to deal with that harsh weather overnight.
Well,
But
you're going to be dealing with heat though.
I'd
Right?
rather deal with heat than cold. I was
I
so
would too,
freaking cold.
personally.
Yeah, I was so freaking cold, and it was.
You better bring a few cases of that applied nutrition hydration there, buddy.
Yeah,
Gel packs.
yeah. Definitely have the products to power it through.
Yeah.
I really, kudos to you. And what I think about is, there's a physical aspect to it, but there's a huge mental aspect to an ultra marathoner. Absolutely a huge mental aspect,
Yeah. Man, the 100 miler, I've seen 100 milers, specifically 100 milers described as life in a day. So it took me 29 hours, and life in a day, and that you experience every single emotion you could imagine during that 29 hours, right? Absolute roller coaster. There were times where I was like, I could run for the next 3 days and be fine. There were times where I didn't think I could take another 5 steps without my back like spasming and just giving out on me. So yeah, literally every type of emotion you can experience in that day.
Let that sink in. Running for 29 straight hours.
I mean, I wasn't running the entire time.
No, I know you take right. I know
right.
you pace yourself, but just think about that. That's just nuts.
And it was terrain too. It wasn't like a track. It wasn't a road. It was a single track hiking trail up and down hills, valleys.
In the dark at some points, I'm sure.
In the dark overnight, you have a headlamp that gives you maybe a 4-foot window of light, if that.
Right.
And yeah, it was snowing. Rocky terrain. I think maybe of the 100 miles, maybe 95 of it was on terrain. And maybe there was definitely less than 10 miles that was actually on a road. So it was tough. But it, again, to the experiencing all of the different emotions throughout that day, like the feeling of crossing the finish line was incredible. And my dad was there. He was my Sherpa, right? He was my guide throughout the 100. He would meet me at the aid stations, make sure I had some food, make sure I had some water, make sure I was warm, tried to help me change my shoes, whatever. So he kind of Sherpa'd me throughout the race, and then just to cross the finish line, just give him a big hug and fall into his arms, and we got a great picture, a great father-son moment together.
That's awesome.
That's super cool. Was there any point in there, you said you went through all the emotions, was there any point in there where you question yourself and say, what did I get into? Why the hell am I doing this? Am I going to quit?
Definitely. There were definitely times that I wanted to quit, but then again, I mean, at this point too, I knew I had my dad there. I couldn't let him down. I knew I had told plenty of friends and family that I was doing this. I'm like, I can't quit, and I wouldn't feel right if I had to, if I told them I had quit. But yeah, there were definitely plenty of times where I wanted to quit, but I knew it really wasn't an option on the table.
What do you do nutrition wise and hydration wise during that event?
Yeah, during the event, you are literally every aid station you get to, you got to shove something in your face, whether you feel like it or not. And then the fact that it was as cold as it was, I remember going into one aid station and they had orange pills on the table, and I grabbed an orange and threw it in my mouth, and it was like just like chewing an ice cube. I was like,
oh,
the orange was just frozen solid enough. So I was like chewing an ice cube. But the thing that did well for me was Hammer Nutrition makes energy gels, just like the gooey energy gels. And I was sucking those things down. I must have had 24 of them throughout the race. They're like 100 calories each.
Is it just straight glucose?
Glucose, yeah, glucose. And it was like a gel, like a thick gel, so it didn't freeze even though it got cold. Right. And it had a decent taste to it. Yeah, just forcing yourself to eat something literally at every aid station.
And do you carry your own water as you run?
Yeah, I carried 2 water bottles on me on my vest, but overnight they froze solid. They literally froze solid overnight. Yeah. So yeah, that was a nightmare. But again, the aid stations had water and Diet Coke. I remember at one aid station I had like a 20-ounce Diet Coke, and it just hit the freaking spot. It was probably 80 miles in, and the lady was like, she was like laying out all the options she had as I came into this aid station, and she said, I have Diet Coke. I just grabbed it and like chugged it. I don't know why it hit the spot. So probably the sodium. I don't know, but it really just.
But the carbonation, I
would think that would throw you off the carbonation.
I don't know. It just hit the spot. I don't know. I don't know why. Probably delirious at that point anyway.
Yeah. I can't imagine it, dude. Honestly, I can't imagine somebody doing a regular, like a New York marathon of 26 miles. Never mind doing 100. Like, It's mind blowing to me. It's lots of respect, man.
It's a good story. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So we are winding down on time,
yeah.
fellas. So we got any other questions for Spencer? Hit him up.
No, what's the next expo we'll see him at, hopefully.
Oh
Hopefully.
man, I know we'll be at the Olympia for sure. We already have our flights and our hotels booked for that. So the AN Performance team, probably Applied Nutrition as well. I'm sure some of the UK guys will come over for the Olympia.
Are you gonna have a
So,
booth at the Olympia?
yeah, that would
And
be
the Olympia is
definitely
back in Vegas this year. Is that
back
right?
in Vegas this year. Yep.
Resorts, I think it is, right? Resorts.
Oh geez, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Scott. Yeah.
Actually, I'm excited though because I've actually never been to Vegas before, so this will be the first time I'm going to
What?
Vegas.
Get
I
out of
know,
here.
I know. It's crazy, right?
All right, Spearmint Rhino and In-N-Out Burger. There you go.
I really want to see a
Travel with
UFC
Eric.
fight.
That's my Vegas guide.
I really want to see UFC fighting in person. That's my Vegas bucket
Cool.
list.
I've been to Vegas a million times, but I do want to go back for a Raider game. I am a Raider fan, so I do
Okay.
want to go to the stadium.
That's right. I remember talking about that with you before. Cool.
Yeah, you'll have to hit like Dragon's Lair or Yak's Fitness.
Yeah, definitely Dragon Lair, for
House, Torture Gym.
And I'm pretty sure we'll have a booth at the USA Fit Expo too in Dallas. I think it's like June 15th or June 15th and 16th in Dallas. We'll have a booth there at the USA
Cool.
Fit Expo.
That's a good show too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm exhausted just listening to him.
Spencer, how can people find you and how can people find your
Yeah.
brand that you're now working for?
I'm real easy to find on Instagram, just at slin46, on LinkedIn, just Spencer Lynn, you'll find me. I'm easy to get in touch with. If anybody has any questions about the product or anything at all, happy to answer. I get back to everybody, literally, make it a point. My best ability is my availability. And then if anybody wants to follow ABE, it's at ABE Nation on Instagram. And then Applied Nutrition as well on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. Pretty easy to find. Abe Nation, ABE Nation is the website if anybody wants to try any of our products that are here in the US right now. And then be on the lookout for AN Performance later this year.
Cool.
So you got in Pittsburgh, is that correct?
I live in Pittsburgh. Yep.
You can see the sun is starting to come down because we just make an outline of you now.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time, Spence.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me
Spencer, it
on.
was really nice meeting you. I enjoyed speaking to you tonight.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well, Scott.
Yeah, thank you for the samples, my brother. I appreciate
Of course. Happy to hook you guys up. Thank you guys.
We'll post this soon and appreciate everyone's support. Gym Guys Podcast. Check us out and make sure you check out the ABE and Applied Nutrition that Spencer was talking about. I can speak from experience, and most of us can. Some great products out there. Give it a shot. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your support.